Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shay Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "To create a life that's rare and valuable, you have to provide something that's rare and valuable." That is by Cal Newport. So today I have the honor of introducing Samantha. Is an energetic and passionate realtor with a love for fitness and health. Nothing excites her more than helping others make their dreams a reality in the world of real estate. As a proud mom to 3 amazing girls, family is her biggest inspiration. She is fortunate to work alongside her partner in crime every day, making the journey of home buying and selling a thrilling adventure for her clients. Let Samantha turn your real estate dreams into a reality together. So Samantha, thank you so much for being here. This is a third time's a charm kind of thing. And I feel like you and I probably have a lot in common. I got 3 kids. I've been in business for about 6 years, and health and fitness has been a big part of my life for a very long time. So tell me about your journey into real estate and what got you to where you're at today. Because I'm sure it's been super easy, no problems. Everything has been just right going up, right?
Easy, smooth sailing. Yeah, no, it couldn't be further from the truth. So thank you so much for having me. I feel like we're like soul sisters. Everything, I've done a lot of research on the podcast before getting on here. And like you said, it took 3 times to get here just because momming, lifing, all of it, just those obstacles just cannot be avoided. And it's just figuring out a way to get over them on the path of least resistance. So that quote is one of my favorite and leads me into really like how I got here in the journey. So I think like most people being a realtor, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think like most people I've met, becoming a realtor was a part of the journey. I didn't wake up one day and I'm like, you know what? I want to be a realtor. I was a professional and then a mom. So I started out in the tobacco business after college, which is crazy. I worked for one of the biggest tobacco companies ever. And then had my kids pivoted into healthcare. So you can't make that up. It's, I tell people all the time, went from the dark side to the light side. But in between all of that, I started a cake business and a personal training business and just did a lot of things to create energy and figure out what was working. I went from corporate to owning my own businesses to going back to a corporation after I had my 3rd child, just because healthcare was a complete beast. And I figured work for a healthcare organization could get great healthcare. So in that journey, I did everything from finance to negotiating contracts to project management, everything that really led into me being a realtor. And I say that in this sense, every job I've had has been about building relationships. Every company that I started or was a part of was about building relationships. So personal training, relationships, right? Custom cake business, relationships. It was all about building relationships quickly and then providing something that the consumer thought was rare and valuable. In my like corporate time and time in healthcare and tobacco and all that, it was learning operations and running teams and just keeping everything on track, getting to bigger goals. So Real estate, I'll say I fell into. I finished my MBA about 3 years ago, and I'm not very complacent. So I have a really hard time just sitting still, as you can kind of tell from like that trajectory. None of that makes sense. None of those jobs really fit into each other. They just all fulfilled the need at the time. So it was either work, money, doing something while my kids were little to just stay active and not just a mom, right? As much as momming is one of my favorite things ever, and I knew that there was more. I'm not just mom, right? So I felt like pivoting back to when I got my MBA, I finished that and I was, now what? Like I took a deep breath and I didn't know what that next step was. I mean, I knew it was a great thing to have education wise. I love school. I love learning, but I still didn't feel fulfilled. I still felt like there was something else. I was still working for somebody else. So I finished and I literally watched the podcast one morning. I was laying in bed. It was Brandon Turner, Bigger Pockets podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, I'm laying there and everything he was saying in like a whole like 5-minute podcast. I was like, I could do that. I'm like, I can be an investor and I'm going to make like millions, like buying rentals. And it made it seem like everybody could do it. But I'm like, this doesn't seem that hard. So I followed it for a couple of days and it had this whole path of these are the things that you need to do to be successful in the business. And it was find an investment friendly realtor, find like all the resources that you need to like stand up your business and like get going. And looking back now, obviously it was a lot harder than just finding those 4 resources. But one of them is my partner in crime, Eric. And he's who we built a team with, Eric Teeney's team. But he was the investment friendly realtor. I literally went onto the site. I typed in my hometown. I picked the first person that popped up on the list and met him about 4 years ago. And that's a story for a whole other day. But that's what really like catapulted me in the real estate. It was literally watching something that just like set my brain on fire and started that journey. So I met Eric, got my license just about 4 years ago. I just started my 4th year in real estate. And it has been a crazy journey since then. So I'm sure we'll talk more about the details, but that's how I got here, which makes no sense to many people, right? And I think that's often the path of real estate. You start off as like, I'll say like lawyer, doctor, like teachers, like everybody I think that's on our team right now has come from something else. There's 1 or 2 people that literally woke up and said, I want to be in real estate. And they're like the new, like 21, 20-year-olds. But other than that, everyone is so diverse. Everyone's done something else, is doing something else, is like standing this up alongside something. So I think it's one of the coolest career paths you can possibly be in, because literally everything that you do before is a skill set that lends to doing something in real estate. So if you can pull it all together, and that's why I do that. That's why I love it so much. I think we can pull it all together. You can be crazy successful. There's a lot more to it. I'm sure we'll get into it, but that's kind of my intro into it, which is very long. So sorry about that.
No, you're good. So it's interesting because mine's not quite that, but you start off because I was a case manager for mentally ill adults. Like I always knew I was here to help people in some way, shape, or form. So my thought was counseling. Well, actually, it was nursing. I went to school to be a nurse for a year, and then towards the end, you had to draw blood, and I don't like blood. Apparently, I didn't think about that in advance. Nope.
I hear so much this. Yep.
So I did human service counseling, and then I was a case manager for mentally ill adults, and then I was also a bartender for many years. And so between those 2 skills, patience and rapport building are the 2 things in those areas of business, or I guess of work, that I built rapport. I can build rapport very easily. And if I can't, something's wrong with them. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
No, I agree. No,
it's not me, it's them. No, I'm totally kidding.
Not me, it's you. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it's just kind of like in real estate, there's clients that, sometimes you just have to realize that they're not the client. Like that's it. It's just not going to work. And it's not necessarily anything wrong with them. It's not really anything wrong with you. It's just not going to jive. Like I went on a listing appointment not too long ago, and I was just like, this is so awkward. Like I feel like this is not going to work. So
you're just pulling teeth. Yeah, I know exactly that.
I just didn't follow up, which sounds terrible. When you're a newer agent, you're going to follow up with everybody. But when you get a little bit more experience, you're just like, no.
Yeah. 100%. I remember being on an appointment, the same thing. So I've always gotten my energy, just circling back to something you said, I've always gotten my energy from being a resource or helping people do something, or get something of value to them, right? The personal training, it was helping people be a better version of themselves. The cake business was seeing the excitement on people's faces when like I nailed the design and their kids were happy and they were happy. Real estate, it's just there's nothing like the help when you're helping somebody find their home, their forever home, their first home, a home that they never thought they could have, or an investor build their portfolio. So I've always gotten my energy, same thing, from helping other people, being around other people, building that relationship. So yeah, key part to it for sure. Yeah. And you just know if it's not a match. And like you said, as a new agent coming up, a lot of people ask you, what's your niche going to be? Like, who do you want to work with? And the answer should be everybody. Like, absolutely anybody and everybody that says the word house or looking for a home is your client at that time. But now, like, spot on, you go on some appointments and we're fortunate. Like, I think we have 35 people on our team. It's been a crazy, like, year of like scaling and growth. So, fortunately, if I'm not a good fit, or Eric isn't a good fit, somebody else on that team is going to be a good fit. And we have no problem like passing them along, because that process should be one that is meaningful to both sides. And if I'm just eking along and we're like butting heads, it's not going to go well for anybody. So
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
More damage in the long run in all reality. So
yeah.
you guys have 35 people on your team. Tell me a little bit about how you've been able to be so successful with real estate while being a mom and raising 3 girls. Because how old are your girls?
My oldest is 20. She'll be 21 in February. My middle is 17. She'll be 18 in August. And then my littlest is 12 and she'll be 13 in August. So, and then I should say 4. So, right, my 3 daughters, and then Eric has 1 daughter. She's 10. So we are co-parents to all 4 girls, and it's a heck of a journey. So oldest going to be an adult, youngest just going into middle school. It's a heck of a ride. So the how is, man, like I wish I had some like super powerful thing that I could say that this is how I did it, but it's being able to adapt along the way and figure out what works for everyone. Like schedules are all over the place. Obviously, my oldest is almost an adult. She's in college. We have to like protect her time and make time. Like I had breakfast with her this morning, like right before this podcast. And with her, it's more about making time. With the other 2, it's still eking them along in the right direction to get them where they have to go. And then the youngest thinks I'm a chauffeur. So, I build my schedule around what she has going on in her life. But how I'm successful, I think, as a realtor and a mom, I think largely is because I was a mom first. Because I was a mom, because I had like other like corporate jobs, like I've always understood time management and time blocking, which for me is a huge part of how I've made my personal business, our personal business, successful. Being able to block time for everybody, not just what's important for, what's going on in real estate for the family, because let's be honest, there is no balance. There's no balance in this world at all. It's merely trying to prioritize what's most important at that time when you're going through it. So there are like hard and fast time blocks that don't change for anything. That's the workout, morning routine, getting the kids off to wherever they have to go, and then prospecting follow-up. There's some team follow-up, organization, all of that. But those time blocks are non-negotiables. You're non-negotiable a lot, but those for me really are. So you have to have those time blocks on the calendar, et cetera. Otherwise they don't happen for me anyway. So that's a huge part. As simple as it sounds, has been a huge part of me personally feeling successful. Before the show started, we were talking about people are like, you're so successful and it's awesome to see you killing it. But I think entrepreneurs that are always kind of in that mindfuck state don't ever feel like they're at the point where like they've made it. And maybe they do, but I'm just so not there yet at all.
No.
Because there's days where it's like running along and I feel awesome. And after this podcast, I'll have a crazy amount of energy. I love talking about how we got there. I love collaborating and sharing like little tidbits that maybe somebody else is going to find some value in. But then you crash and then it's like, okay, now refocus and back to prospecting, follow-up, getting beat down, hearing the no's, like figuring out how to make this work. And I think for me, success truly will be when I'm not chasing after it anymore, when it's more, and there is a lot of organic and there is a lot of referrals, but when I don't feel like I'm always on that path, maybe that's not even realistic, where I'm always on that path of figuring it out, because as successful as we've been, I still feel like we're figuring it out. There's still so much to do and so much to learn. So
there is, and unfortunately, I don't know if that is realistic. And the reason I say that is because times are always, you know what I mean? Like social media is changing, internet's changing, real estate is changing. So if you don't adapt with the change, you're going to fall behind. I mean, look at Blockbuster.
Yep.
They were worth millions and millions way back in the day. Well, they didn't adapt to the time, and they thought, nope, this is working. This is what works. We're going to stick with it. And they got pushed out. I don't care how long you're in a business, if you don't adapt, and that is kind of the exhausting part if you think about it as an entrepreneur, is like you don't probably ever really get to coast. Like it's not just going to be like, oh, I'm sitting back, this is fantastic. Sometimes you're going to have that, but for the remainder of your life, no. You know what I mean? So that's why I know real estate isn't going to be my end all or be all as a real estate agent, because I don't want to always. It is right now. I have the energy for it. I love it. Challenges. I love all of those things. But eventually, that's not going to be my end all be all. So I'm always thinking about, okay, what does my future look like? Where do I want that? How can I get this residual income without always having to chase? But I think you're always going to be there, because in any realm of entrepreneurship and business, people are always adapting. Like I have some really close friends who are multimillionaires. Their income is $1 million plus a month, and they're always adapting. They're always going, even though they don't have to, but it's just that love of it. It's that grind.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And I think it's that mindset. And I think maybe that's just it. Like the entrepreneur mindset and that growth mindset is always on fire. So, and maybe that is the point, right? Like I'm always kind of looking for like you said, what is the point? Like, what is like the next level of this? And I get excited from that planning and the strategy side of it, which is what I loved about that corporate world. It was all planning strategy, but then when it got to the doing, I didn't want to do the doing part of it. I just wanted to like figure it all out. And then I wanted other people to do the work. So I love like those phases of like growth and thinking and like, how do you get to the next level? And I think if you're a true entrepreneur, it's always what's the next level. And I think that's what's been so enticing to me in real estate, is that next level is limitless. It doesn't feel like there's a limit. And with everything else that I've ever done, there's always been a cap, right? You work for somebody else, you're not limitless. You're limited by what they're going to pay you, right? Personal training, you can only train so many people a day, right? So it's either scale that and grow it and have somebody else doing it, or that's not really limitless either. It can only bake so many cakes a day. That was exhausting. Food industry, all of it. So yeah, I think if you're like a true entrepreneur, you're always thinking about what that next level is. And it's exhausting and it's exhilarating all at the same time. I think for circling back to something you asked, like about our team, like how do we grow and like family and all that, it's time blocking. And I think for the team itself, though, how we've grown has been attraction, which is obviously, I think the way that you really want to grow anything, because that truly does feel like organic. We've been focusing on social media as much as we've been trying to eke along and learn it. And I read this book this year. I'm probably going to pivot 100 times. So if I go off like a squirrel, rein me back in. But I read this book this year. My mind goes in 1,000 different directions. But I read this book this year after going to an EX region rally a couple of months ago. And the book was called Buy Back Your Time. And Justin, I'm going to say Watson, that's not right, but Justin, who started Spear Rocket, that's within our company, got up on stage and talked about the power of buying back your time, which if you just think about that for a couple of seconds, I mean, it's exactly what it says it is. Like if somebody else can do something 80% as well as you can do it, pay somebody else to do it. If you don't think that you can afford to pay somebody to do something that's I'm not going to say meaningless to you, but not something that you're proficient at, like social media. I'm great to make a live real quick or post a story or the latest sale that I've had. But other than that, I'm not a guru. And if I spent the time trying to figure out how I did it, I'd probably pivot into marketing because it's going to take up too much of my time. So buying back your time is just about giving away things that other people love to do. Some people love the admin work. Some people love scheduling, making appointments, you name it, administrative stuff. I don't. It drains me and makes me feel like I'm being super unproductive. So this book, Buy Back Your Time, Justin talked about, who created Spear Rocket, which is like a virtual assistant company. changed my world, like changed our world, and allowed us by giving away things, hiring a virtual assistant, giving away things that weren't creating value for us to make time for things like this. This gives me an immense amount of energy sharing information, right? Recruiting, like talking to people that are finding us, being attracted to us. That helps our team growth, focusing on like building the things outside of our business so we don't have to work inside of our business. That's how we've grown the team, giving away the stuff that doesn't add value. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of entrepreneurs, quite frankly, are scared to do. They don't want to give away too much. And when they give away stuff, they give away the wrong thing. And they give away like what they love to do instead of the things that other people can control. So for us, growth has been all about figuring out what adds value so that we can do the things that are going to attract people to us and so that we can be more present for them and really help them grow their businesses. So that's really been a huge catalyst for this past year's growth.
It's interesting that you bring up it's leveraging, so buying back your time. And up until last year, so I pay for a coach, which I think is crucial for anybody. And I hired a coach last year, a very expensive one. Coaches here and there, but I kind of outgrew them, kind of thing. So I hired one, and his biggest push has been to leverage my time more. And that was so hard for me initially. It was so hard because it's eating into your income. It's eating into your budget. You're not going to be bringing home as much. But in all reality, like as you start realizing, because I have a little thing here, it says $360. Oh, you can't see it. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. So $360 an hour. So that is $1 million GCI. That is my goal. Okay. I know it sounds crazy, especially with our area. And it's just me. Like I don't have agents underneath me to help bring in that income. So that is what I have here. And it's one of those things that you have to think of, okay, what is your time worth? And then you have to realize, okay, if I can pay somebody $20 an hour to do the things that I'm not very good at, like social media, then I can start doing that. Does not make sense. And then when you have kids, because I've been very fortunate that I have found two amazing people. One for admin, which, oh my gosh, she has changed my entire life because I hate everything about dotting I's and crossing T's. I hate everything about it. So it is not my thing. I get made fun of all the time because I have so many grammar errors on social media when I make posts. Like people just know. They'll text me like, Shay, this is wrong. You might want to. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why I need somebody else to do this shit. But but like my coach pushed me to do it. And it took me a long time. And you have to be, it's slow to hire, quick to fire kind of thing. And I have hired two people. I mean, I have a lot of other like third party businesses that help me with certain things, but I have two people, one lady who helps me with almost all of my marketing and then my admin. And those two, yes, they eat into my budget, but you know what? I am home more. I may not be bringing, eventually I know that money will come back because I can focus my attention on doing the things that are actually income producing. That's going to net me return. And that's networking. Honestly, I joke that I should just be a philanthropist and donate all of my time because I am part of a lot of committees and boards and all of those things. But I really truly believe I love giving back. Like if I can give back financially and with my time, I love those things. And I know it's going to come back to me tenfold in the future. I don't expect it to, but I know it will. It's one of those things. You know what I mean? So,
definitely. Just kind of trusting that whole system of it. So I mean, that's exactly it. Build it before you need it is something else that was like drilled into my brain this year when we listened to a few people talk. So I mean, it's really hard, I think, for people to get out of the mindset of, I don't need it now, or not now, I'll do it when. But if you're waiting for not now, I'll do it when, then you're probably never going to get there. It's really doing it before you need it. Build it before you need it. And I wish that I had done that with an admin or taught the back end of our business or the front end of our business sooner, because it would have freed up time sooner. But those are the little tidbits that I'm hoping that having these conversations is going to help other people. Like if anybody takes away like one thing from this conversation of like how to create that catalyst, it's just that, like, build it before you need it. Like put the systems into place and watch them just like catapult your business for you. So I think having good systems in place, making things repeatable, that's really a hallmark of how you get where you're at, just creating those good systems. Follow up as a realtor or something. I think that just kind of pivoting and thinking about how newer agents or agents that haven't been successful or agents that want to grow their business, how they're going to improve, right? Like, I'm talking to you kind of first as an entrepreneur and like what it's been like to like run a business and build a business while having a family. And that's huge. But I think a lot of people watching this, I read a lot of your reviews and listened to quite a few of the podcasts before I did this one, but I think a lot of your audience is also people that want to start their own businesses and want to become mompreneurs, but they're like, how on earth do I do that with a family? And how do I even start when I feel like I have to make dinner and be a taxi like 24 hours a day? And I think if they can just like build a little piece of something that you need to help you get there every day, that they can do it. It's just taking those baby steps and just believing that you can do it. As cliche as that sounds, believe in yourself. If you don't tell yourself every day, I'm going to be the most wildly successful realtor, mompreneur in my area, then it's never going to happen. So you have to believe it before you make it. You have to build it before you need it. And you have to understand your value before you can create something that's rare and valuable.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because people always say fake it till you make it, which I get that. Yeah. But to me, it's more faith it until you make it. You fake it.
I like it.
Yes, because you don't want to fake it. Like if you don't know the answer to something, don't pretend like you just let them know. You know what? I'll go figure it out. I don't know, but I will figure it out. Like you need to be transparent with people that you're not going to know it all.
Yeah.
If you have the faith and the belief that you know you are going to be very successful, it will happen. And it may not happen in your time frame. It may not be in the way that you want it to. Things happen for a reason and they will work out. And one of my favorite quotes is, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. And
I love that.
Yeah, because you don't realize why certain things happen or why God puts certain people in your life, good or bad, until you get to a point and you're like, oh, that's why that didn't work out. That's why that relationship that didn't work out. That's why that agent didn't come on board. That's why I didn't get that listing. Like, it does make sense. You're not going to always have the answer for everything, but you will. It does start making sense. And you just have to believe that things are happening, but you also need to grind. Like you said, you need to time block. Morning routine is crucial to me. And obviously that is a make or break for my day, my week, my month, my year. If I am not on track with my morning routine, which summers get a little bit trickier for me because
summer is so hard.
It's like, so hard. I love my kids. Like yesterday, my kids were like, Mom, we just want to be with you all day. I'm like, I love you, but okay. I was like, you're literally going to be in the car all day with running around. And my kids are great, honestly. Like they don't get technology. They don't get phones, iPads, anything like that. So like I went out, I had a lunch meeting and I made them sit at a separate table and I didn't hear, and literally my daughter brought her book bag. Rocks is her thing. And my kids are 9, 7, and 4. So she brought a book bag with a little bit of colors and rocks. And then she has a little camera that she can take pictures with. That's what they brought. And they sat there for an hour and 15 minutes and did not bother me one time. So
I absolutely love that. I love that. Summer is probably, and my phone's ringing. I'm trying to silence it. So if you saw me fumbling, I'm like, please stop ringing. But that's summer is just, I love summer. I say it every year. I'm so thankful that, it's great when the kids have a break and when they're home, but day one into I'm bored, I'm like, I don't even know how to, like, just like you, like, I want to spend all day with you. And I have mom guilt, like over the top. Like when they say I want to spend the whole day with you, I'm like, yeah, I do too. I'm like, but and when you say spend the whole day with you, I want to take them to Dorney Park, right? This like amusement park near us, or go on a walk or swim in the pool or do something fun. And it's so hard for me to, and like I said before, it's not balanced. I feel like there's no balance. It's just navigating around what's important and making time for all of it in the time that you can. But when I can't just like block the time at that moment because I have back-to-back listing appointments or phone calls or prospecting, things that I time block, the same thing that I tell them, I'm like, I'm going to time block, as silly as it sounds, but I make that time for my oldest daughter because it's literally the only time we get to like chat sometimes, for breakfast every Wednesday. And then my littlest daughter is in swim during the summer. So I know from 4 to 9, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that time's all hers. And I tell her I'm super committed to that. I'll never like navigate away from that. Like mom will always be there. But in those, I just want to spend the day with mom. It's so hard to flex in this role when you already have appointments and it's a grind. I have huge mom guilt for that. So if you have any way to get through that, or any of the viewers do, I'm all ears, because I think we want to be all things to all people all the time. And when I can't do that, or when I just like bring them along for the day, I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's not fun for them. But
It's not. But
it's also cool.
I think setting those expectations for the kids too. So like yesterday when they're like, Mom, we just want to be with you all day. I'm like, okay, well, you need to understand that mommy's working today. Like today, mommy's working. I'm not going to be able to like focus on you guys, go play.
Yeah.
Like this is what I have going on today. And you guys are just going to have to tag along. Do you understand that? Like, yeah, that's fine. In case my son is like, Mom, I just don't like being anywhere without mommy and daddy.
Aww.
And they wanted to go spend the day with dad. Well, dad's doing electrical work today. So he's
right.
wiring a house that has no AC. And that's fine if you guys want to go there, but it's hot. And especially when you go inside the house, it's going to be hot. So it's just one of those things that for me, what I have found is just setting those expectations. And I do the same thing, like just like with any other appointment, I time block them to my time. So like Friday, they've been wanting to have friends over, and it's hard to coordinate that because we live 10 miles from town. So trying to coordinate getting people to our house or me picking them up, and especially when you have 3 and everybody wants to have friends over. But anyway, so last week or 2 weeks ago, I time blocked. Okay, 2:00 this Friday, I'm going to have the kids have friends over. Hopefully the parents can bring them to my house. And then I decided the other day that, you know what, I'm going to order pizza. Parents can come out, and when they pick up their kids again, eat with us too. So 2:00 this Friday, that is my time. I'll have like 14 kids in my house.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely.
Yes. And I told the parents, I said, hey, I probably won't be able to pick them up. Can you bring them out and then come pick them up back up? Because I can't get everybody, it's going to be just me. But I love kids. And so it's just time blocking those times, and not, I think it just kind of goes back. We just can't feel bad because we do dedicate a lot of times. And with our kids, it's not about the quantity of time, it's the quality of time.
Heck yeah. Yes. Yeah. So true. So true.
And it is tough because, and like going back, it's just, I don't want to be just a mom. I love being a mom. It's my favorite thing, but I don't want to be just a mom. I know that there's something bigger and greater for me in my life and my family's life than just being a mom. Because if I'm just a mom, I can't be the best mom and the best version of myself if I'm not taking care of myself though too.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And that's exactly what got me back into that mindset right there. Like I loved having my kids. And I also felt guilty about that, right? Because I remember having kids, and some moms were like, oh, I could never go back to work, and I just want to be a stay-at-home mom forever. And that's great if that like really fulfills you. But I was like clawing the walls. I loved my kids to death, but I was clawing the walls. I'm like, there has to be more. Like, I can't just sit here like cleaning up and making dinner and like taking care of the kids all day. Like there was a whole part of my brain and my heart that I was not using. I'm like, it didn't feel right. And I had so much anxiety. So at the point when I went, when I started the cake business, that's what that was about. It was one of my first daughter's birthday, and I was looking at like cakes and whatnot, and I want to have like this big party that she would never remember for friends and family and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. She's gonna love it. And she slept through most of her first birthday party. But I remember looking at cakes and I'm like, good God, like, I'm like, I can bake. There's no way I'm paying for that. So I found again, another, like, I don't think there were really podcasts at that time, because this is like 21 years ago. I don't think it was really a thing, but there were like websites for everything. So I found this website, it was like cakecentral.com, and it was like how to make fondant. And I literally started watching these videos and started my cake business like 6 months later, because I love to bake. And I did it because it just, even with my first one, like a year in, I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. Like I graduated college like 4 years before that. I'd gotten this career started as a finance person for the tobacco company. And I loved it. I loved the people. I would use my brain, like all of that. I mean, you don't use your brain as a mom. I mean, we have to keep them alive. That in and of itself is a challenge, right? So
feed them. I forget to feed them when they come with me during the day.
Right. Yeah. So growing a human, taking care of a human, that's no joke. There are like real things that you need to be able to do in order to accomplish all that. So I am happy that I was able to do that for all of them so far, but it wasn't enough. And that's, why I think I've started every business that I started. It was because something still was not fulfilled. So just like you,
still searching for it.
Yeah. So just like you, like, and I felt guilty for the longest time saying it's not enough because I'm like, of course these little humans are enough, but I'm like, it's not enough to make me feel like I'm doing something that like gives value back to the world. I just feel like there's something bigger and better. And real estate just coming full circle, I really feel like it's got every element of it that I need. So from growing a team satisfies the helping other people be the best versions of themselves piece of it. And just that dynamic of like the group think and creating something bigger than you. Meeting with clients is still my absolute favorite thing, like getting in front of them for the first time, listing appointments, helping them find their new home. My favorite part. The meeting people, connecting them to the resources I could live, breathe, do all day long. That middle part gets for me. I love a good negotiation, and there's realtors out there that it drives me crazy. It gets to the hard part, they back away, they silent treatment you, and I'm like, where'd you go?
Yeah.
And that's when I know that something's gone awry. And I have to take control of both sides, and it is what it is. But there's an excitement in that too because you get to like fix something and strategize something. But the middle rest of it, like, not my thing. Like the bringing people from the beginning, the middle parts of the middle doing, and the end piece, like
Yeah.
where you get to close it all up, like that's what I love. And I think that's the true entrepreneurial spirit. So it's got the client side, the relation side, the strategy, the growth, the team, like, and it's just limitless. So I think it's been a good culmination of everything. And even bringing in the moms have to keep kids alive, like keeping real estate deals together, that's like in and of itself just, a whole other world. So keeping that alive, keeping your business growing, keeping everything new and exciting so it doesn't get boring. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that momming has taught me, both what I want out of life and what I don't want out of life. So I don't want complacency. And, I just want something that's limitless. And that's what this has felt like the whole time from beginning to end. So absolutely loving this journey.
Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes, another one, I have a lot of quotes, is get very comfortable being uncomfortable. Because
Yeah.
kind of what you said, that there was always more, there was always more. Well, the problem with a lot of people is they don't follow that intuition. I call it intuition.
Yeah.
They don't follow that fire because change is scary. Change is
Yeah.
hard for everybody, or it's scary for a lot of people, but most people don't want to step outside that comfort zone. Well, that is
Right.
what happens, is outside that comfort zone. Because if you're not growing, or if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. And that's kind of the scary part with me. My husband's like, oh my gosh, Shay, just go find something else to do.
Right.
Because he's like,
Yep.
I'm like, hey, you should do this, or let's do this. He's like, where did that come from? I was like, well, I had like 5 minutes in between appointment. He's like, go find something to do.
Right. That's
And
exactly it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
like
I love
I
that.
feel like I have to be doing something. And one of another thing that I think it's Elon Musk maybe says, no, Tony Robbins, he says that progress is happiness. Like, people are happy when they're making progress. Like, you're not just happy when, I guess, you think that you've made it. That's not where it's at, because there's always another level. Like, once you reach this level, okay, well, I'm not gonna, like, I'm happy when I'm making progress to the next level and the next level.
That's it.
And that's
That's
why
it.
people who are multimillionaires, they never truly retire, even though they can, because it's not about the money. It's about,
No.
how can I help others? How can I make this world better? What can I do next? What is going to challenge me? What can I do to give back to my family and my church and the people surrounding me? How can I help my parents? I mean, like, there's always another
Yeah.
level. And
Always. Yeah.
you want to be happy, but never satisfied. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I am. My coach is always like, so Shay, how do you feel like you did this week? I'm like, oh, like, I don't know. I just put 6 under contract, but I don't know.
Yeah. I could have done more. That's
Like, I feel like I could have done more. There's something, but I don't know. I mean, I'm happy, but there's always more. There's always more.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's 100% it. Yeah. We had a coach this year come in also, and I won't dive too much into that because I know we're probably getting close here on time. But yeah, I actually dread the question of, how did you think this week went? What went well? Because I'm never, and I think that's a good thing, honestly. I'm never focusing on this went like really well, unless it's something that we're trying to repeat and we're trying to learn something from a new tactic or whatnot. But I think getting stuck in that win mindset, and I had a great day or month, and just kind of living there is what stagnates people. Like when they celebrate too long, like win the day. Drew Brees is my favorite all-time football player ever. He was the quarterback for New Orleans Saints. Just like a cool, down-to-earth, humble family guy. Absolutely love him. And one of his quotes when he was coming back from a crazy injury was just win the day and don't like harbor and stay there. So win the day, one, right? you have to make like this small baby step, like wins to get to whatever that next level is. So you do have to be able to focus on like winning the day, crushing it and whatever that looks like for you, but then don't stay there. It always has to be about the next play. Then it's win the day, next play, because if you get stuck there and you celebrate too long, that's when your brain's just like, okay, I'm happy, I'm complacent, I did a good job. And we see it in our business so much where new agents have like a great start, or somebody has like a killer month and like they, crush their goals, and then they're like, woohoo, that's awesome. And then for 3 months, they're just gone because they spent all that time like living in like that 1 month and not continuing to do all the things that were growing the business. It was just celebrating the wins, the closing, getting the listings, that they find their pipeline completely dry. They have to start all over again. So win the day and then next play. You can't sit in one space for too long. Otherwise it just gets complacent. Just, like you said, like you can't like build new things. And there's another quote, I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but obviously you can't expect different results from doing the same thing every day, basically, right?
The true definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, and I find myself like that. I literally have written on a couple different places in my house, because I do have a routine and I do the same things every day. And when I get stuck in a place where I'm like, why am I not X, Y, and Z? I'm like, well, I've been doing the same exact thing for the past like 3 or 4 weeks. And that's exactly why, like, there's got to be a tweak in there somewhere. So be introspective, document, journal everything that you do like mini tests for your business. Like, there's so many ways to grow, so many things to help you grow your business. It's just finding what works for you. So yeah, just staying hungry.
So we'll kind of get this wrapped up, but what is one piece of advice that you could give to the listeners, whether they're looking to start their own business or whether they've been in the business a long time, or what is one piece of advice that you would give your younger self?
Oh my goodness. So I know that when I was reflecting on this before the show, like there were a couple of different things that came to my mind, right? And it's like, don't listen to the other people, and don't harbor too much of that negative energy for yourself. And actually, I remember writing down a quote that I can't remember at the moment while we were talking about this, but become like who you are. Like, really pay attention to who you are, like in your current state, what's making you happy, what's giving you energy, and do more of that. But kind of taking even like a much more like retrospective look back. I remember what I was thinking when I went over this. At a very young age, I had a very clear trajectory, and I think a lot of women do and girls do. And it was like a culture that we were brought up in, 20 some years ago, but it was like that next steps mentality. Like, I'm in school, and next thing I'm gonna do is graduate, and then I'm going to, get married and have kids and like do X, Y, and Z. And just found myself in this very like culture centric like next phase. And I didn't know at all who I was like when I was 18 years old. And you think that you do, right? 23, when I got married for the first time, I didn't have a clue who I was. I was just doing the thing that made sense at the time. And it was like, yeah, it's the next phase of my life, so I might as well, do this. But I think if I could look back at my younger self and tell, myself anything, my coach is like, you have to name your younger self. So little Sammy, if I told her anything, it'd be, I know, I'm like, figure out who the fuck you are before you start building a life with somebody else, before you start figuring your life out with somebody else, because you don't know who you are for such a long time. And I think until you give yourself time to figure out who you are, what your values are, what are important to you, what do you want out of life. And I get it. It evolves over time. But when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, you're a baby. You've just like come out of school or a trade or whatever you're going to do, and you still don't know who you are. I think it's just figure out who you are before you decide to grow a life or like do life with somebody else. Hang on to like your girlfriends and friendships. Like, all of these people are going to help you evolve and be, the best version of yourself. Surround yourself with amazing people that are already doing what you want to do. Just figure out who you are first, and then build a life with somebody else or with other people. So
be patient, figure out who you are, which I'm still working on that too. So
and you're always going to evolve, but I think we just jump into wanting to be grown up. I know I jumped into just wanting to be a grown up and all that too soon.
You want to get married and you want to start your life, when in reality, like,
yeah. Yeah, you don't start your life on your own. Yeah, I wouldn't trade my kiddos for like the world. Everything got me to where I am now. All those experiences, getting married, like figuring life out, figuring out that there was a pivot in there that had to be made. Just doing what's right for myself, the kids, everybody. Like I wouldn't change any of it for anything. It's all what got me here. But and everybody has his growing pains, but just know yourself as best as you possibly can.
That's awesome. Well, Sam, I truly appreciate you being here. And for those who are listening, if anybody, what area are you in?
So Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. So we have a hometown office in Allentown, Pennsylvania. But anybody that knows this area, it's the Lehigh Valley. So Eastern Pennsylvania, we service a ton. So anywhere from like Pike County down to like almost Philly. But yeah.
Okay. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me. I wish that I knew all the fancy terms for socials, but I'm on, Facebook and Instagram. I'm still rebranding a little bit on Instagram. It's Be Bold, Shine Bright is me on Instagram. Samantha Iannelli is me everywhere on Facebook. I'm on TikTok, and I've played around with a lot of those, but my cell phone is in my tagline of absolutely everything. Call me, text me. I'm a human that loves to talk to people on the phone still. So yeah, websites, anything. You can find me absolutely anywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for being here and taking time out today and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shay J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.